Hi, welcome to Ammosmith.com. We're out in the field, and what I want to do is show you some cast bullets for the Garand. What I got is the Lee 200 grain 309 bullet that they make on a 2-cavity mold. But I want to show you a couple things about this bullet that is really important if you're using them in a semi-automatic rifle. It's not so important in a bolt action. Now, what we got is my M1 Garand. What I want to show you is how to make sure that these things are going to feed right and not cause you a jam or a slam fire. Now, this is a bore ride design bullet, meaning the front shank of this bullet should not really touch the rifling at all. It should slide in it. That's why they call it a bore ride. And only the driving bands itself should be contacting the rifling. So what you want to do is take your bullet, point first, and push into the muzzle. You can see it's a little on the stiff side, which isn't great, but it'll work. Now I went round and round with Lee on this, and they still work. And what I got is 38.5 grains of Varget with a number 34 CCI primer in this. What I'm going to do, we got about 125 yards out there. We have a 1/2-inch steel disc, and I'm going to shoot this rifle. I'm going to show you what it does, and I'm going to show you what it doesn't do. Now, it cycles, but I'm pushing these bullets close to 2,000 feet a second. So what I'm going to do is use a slightly faster powder, maybe like 4320, and I'm going to drop the velocity down from about 2,100 feet a second to about 1,750 to 1,800 feet a second. It should get my accuracy a lot tighter. Right now I'm shooting about a 3-inch group. So let me go ahead and get started here, load up a clip, and I'll show you what this thing does. Okay, here's the Garand. So what I'm going to do is a little different than probably what you see in a Garand, how it's been fired before. Now, the nice thing about the Garand is you're not limited to just 8 rounds. You can load 3 rounds in it. You can load all 8. I'm just going to put 3 in it to demonstrate this. In order to load the Garand with just a couple of rounds, just drop the clip in it, bring the rounds in on it, and this is a 308 Garand, by the way. Now you see I got 3 rounds in it. Push in, let the bolt go over the top so it'll keep the clip seated. We're ready to go. I'm going to take a couple of shots at that steel plate up there, and from this angle I want you to see how it cycles and ejects. Here we go. Misfire. The brass I'm using is Lake City. Clean this bad boy off. And it's not good to fire the Garand without the clip in it, even if you're single loading it. Try that misfired round again. Nah, it's dead. Sometimes these CCI 34 primers are bad, and in this case it actually pulled the bullet right out of the case. So you gotta be careful with this stuff. That's why you want to make sure that these bullets slide into the muzzle. Now I went round and round with Lee about this, and they sent me the mold 3 times, and it's still casting a little bit on the big side. So what you want to do in that case is to take your money, instead of going back and forth, because the shipping and everything, after I was done, it turned out to be a $100 mold that still doesn't exactly cast them the way I want them. So the next mold I'm going to get for this rifle in a cast bullet is going to be a 210 grain bullet from Mountain Molds. They make them. It takes a little while for them to get it to you, about 6 to 8 weeks. But you design the mold online, and then you get it the way you want it. Alright, we got the bullet unstuck. So, if you have a cast bullet that has a bore right shank and it won't fit into the muzzle, you might want to go ahead and just send the mold back and have them retool it for you. But now, we're going to shoot some Hornady 150 grain soft point boat tails and 175 grain bullet. Had an odd one in there. So, I'm going to change the camera angle, and I'm going to put the camera zoomed in a little bit on the steel plate. I'm firing this offhand at about 125 yards. So I just want to give you guys an idea of the accuracy potential of a good custom-made Garand. Alright, there's the steel plate. This camera's got a 30x zoom on it, which is kind of nice. So, with the sling, steady footing. Whoops. Even offhand, this thing's pretty deadly.